Welcome, friends, my fan club friends. I am out on my deck this morning because it is a balmy 54 degrees. We're supposed to get to like 61. Anyway, it feels amazing. I thought, you know what? I'm on my third tea time. I thought I'm sitting a little off because I've just filled my bowls, the feeder. We're gonna see if anybody comes while I'm talking. Also, ignore this trash heap of a background. This is my view. I take so many bird photos now that have heavy equipment in the background that it's kind of like a new genre for me. And then also just random vehicles and whatnots down there that need to get to the dump. Anyway, not the prettiest. I get it. So, as you know, we are here today to let me tell you my dating horror story. I never had one before. If you watched my previous love story, dating story, which was the first time I was ever on dating apps, like, over a year and a half ago. I was on it for a hot second, met somebody like in minutes. We hit it off, met the next day, and boom, like full speed ahead. We were in a relationship for a year and a half. So I didn't date. That was the one and only guy. And I was like, oh, this is great. This is easy. So this time around, very different. I'm on Facebook dating, okcupid. My previous video, you got to go watch it if you haven't. It's okcupid, like fails, meaning just like the match fails and what people say. It's pretty funny. And anyway, yeah, there's not some amazing person just straight out the gate that I'm, hitting it off with. So therefore I have gone on some dates. And I didn't think I would like this phase of midlife online dating, but caveat to say what story I'm about to tell you, what happened. I've been enjoying it. I'm enjoying chatting up people. It is hard to keep saying your same stories over and over again and then keep it straight who knows what, and you're like pinging back and forth. So I can't do it to some great extent, like talking to 10 guys, but it's been fun. Been on a small handful of dates, and for the most part, guys are who they have been online or via text. Anyway, this guy, was it OkCupid? Yes, we actually found each other on OkCupid. I was cooking dinner for a friend that was coming over that night, and so I was having a drink, and we are hitting it off on text. Well, in the OkCupid messaging, which actually is really glitchy. So we eventually switched to text. And it is so on point that I am having a blast. Yeah, so it was like top notch, if I did not just say that already, banter. The humor is on point. The flirting is just right. Like, we're going back and forth, and it almost feels like a throwback to my old relationship a year and a half prior, where I was like, oh boy, like he's just like really enamored with like how this is going. I don't mean that to say in a really like snobby way, but like, and I will say the year and a half ago one was very much a love bombing situation that did work out well. This guy, not love bombing to that extent, but there's still a lot of like, wow, like this is really great. And we're like giddy. We're giddy. Okay. So next morning, boom, we start up again, giddy. We are like, and we start to like, I said, like, when are we going to meet? And he's like, when do you want to meet? And I think it was a Monday. It was a Monday. And I was like, well, my schedule right now is super flexible. So it depends, like whatever you can do. He's like, let's want to do Wednesday. And he's feeling like he's rushing that. And I was like, yeah, sure, Wednesday. And I'm like, you know what? I'll drive to you because he's working and it's an hour. We're an hour apart. And I was like, to save time, like that way we can maximize our time together. We'll go for a walk. There's like a place in his town. And I have vetted him to make sure he's legit and he's not going to axe murderer me. I also need to say that his pictures, you would think he's like this, at least 6 foot, big burly guy, and he's got tattoos like crazy, even on the knuckles, which I was like, I'm not sure about that. But he also has a really kind face. He has this nice thick beard. And anyway, you get the sense that he's this big, burly guy. Well, a little into this, I realize he's 5'8". And as mentioned before, I'm not judging on short men because obviously it does like whatever. But it has not been my experience to be with a short guy. Because, I don't know, I like that feeling of being made to feel smaller and being enveloped. But I'm, totally willing to give this a shot. And, okay, so that's the setup. So we're talking and finally he's like, hey, like I'm exhausted for whatever. He had certain reason that he was really, really tired. And I was like, well, so am I, because my friend had stayed over that night and late. And then when she left, I felt like I needed alone time. So I stayed up wicked late. I had 4 hours of sleep. You know what? Yeah. So anyway, so the next morning, it's Tuesday. Sorry. I can get my timeline straight. It's Tuesday now, we're talking, and we're going to meet Wednesday. But then he's like, well, if you don't mind, like, that I'm like not at 100%. Hey, I just saw somebody come. Was that a blue jay? I'm trying to pay attention. He's like, if you don't mind me not being at 100%, we could do tonight. And he's like, he says something like pretty love bomby. That's like, I just want to be near you as soon as possible. I wouldn't necessarily say this is a red flag. Hi, chickadee. Chickadie's announcing their arrival, saying she has filled the feeders, everybody come on. And so I just think it's cute, and I'm like, a little love bombing is kind of flattering. So we're like, yeah. I said, I'm also exhausted. I've had less than 4 hours of sleep, but we'll both not be at our best, but I'm just gonna show up and it's been so great. He does say, so forgive me, in person I might be awkward and shy. And I was like, we'll blow past that quickly because this online rapport is so great. And he gives a little winky heart smiley guy, whatever. Again, I should have listened when he said that. Oh dear, who's here? Hi guys. We got a nuthatch, chickadees. They're swarming. Okay, enjoy my birds, guys. I love them. So I drive the hour up. We decide to meet at the walking trails park near his house and school, or not, yeah, his school, whatever. He works. He's a teacher, middle school, been doing it for 30 years. He has, what does he have? One kid? I'm starting to like lose the details of all my men. He has a kid. Oh yes, his daughter's 22. So great. I'm like, finally a guy that has an adult child, and she's off in like Boston. Oh, for a second, I totally forgot his kid situation. So anyway, I'm actually nervous for this date, which the other dates I'd been on, I was kind of just like feeling like fine about, but I wasn't nervous. This guy, I felt like I had so much riding on that connection, and I was like so excited to meet him in person. And I pull up to the parking lot and he's already there. He was supposed to be late, but anyway, he was there. And the second I even see him in the car, I'm already like, oh no. I get that big burly guy is actually, much smaller. But whatever, he gets out of the car, I get out of mine, and he's kind of like, wait, where's, I forgot to tell him I wasn't driving my Jeep. I'm in my minivan because Jeep's in the shop. And I was like, blah, blah. But so we're just like blabbering on about cars, and I'm looking for my keys so I could lock the car and walk with just my keys. But I'm like, immediately, I feel something is off. Not in like a scary way. But there's just like, and I go in for a hug because I figure I'm just going to break that ice and do that. And he is very short, and we have a hug, and I'm like, okay, so there's the trails. And he's like, yeah, not much to speak of. Like the conversation is fine and stuff, but I feel zero zilch of that texting chemistry that we had. Like gone. The vibe is like, I'm going on a walk with a colleague who I very platonic and have no crush on. Like that's the vibe. And I'm like, okay, but whatever, we're doing this. This hike was awful because a lot of it was very narrow. So we had to single file. So of course I have to go first. So of course he's looking at my ass. We're trying to talk, and he's asking questions. And like I said, the conversation's flowing fine enough, but I'm like shouting and kind of turning back while I talk to like engage with him. And we don't have much eye contact. And it's a really weird way to tell stories. It's like single file to meet somebody new and shouting because nobody can hear you behind you. So we do this for like an hour. Okay, we're done. We get in our cars and we drive to the restaurant. We're going to a brewery. Mind you, he's a writer and he had shared all of his writing too prior. And his writing is actually a really good writer. And I really enjoy these. They're tiny, tiny short stories. Very, very tiny, like an essay. But they were really good. They're biographical, autobiographical. And so I learned in those that he is like very much an IPA drinker. Worked at a liquor store one summer, for extra money. Not that he's like a lush, but there's some drinking culture. So anyway, we go to a brewery. On that drive, it was like 5 minutes away. I call my friend who was over the night before, and I was like, oh no, something is off. Like, I don't feel it. Like, oh, he's short, he's not big and burly, and I don't know. But I'm like, it was a really awkward walk, so we're gonna obviously go through this dinner, and hopefully we can like make eye contact and find that connection that we had that was so good. Dinner, or ordering drinks, he says something. So this is another little tidbit he gives at the very beginning of this, that because I was like, oh, I'm only recently drinking again. I was doing a challenge, 95 days no drinking, and I'm going to get an IPA. He's like, yeah, you should. He's like, yeah, I'm going to not get a drink while I figure out what's going on with my health. Something to that effect. And I'm like, okay, I'm like, no big deal. But also it was like, it was a little tidbit, and I didn't inquire and I wasn't nosy about it. And I don't know if I had said something at the beginning, I don't know how that would have gone. He might have just like glossed over that because we're going to go through this dinner. So anyway, dinner, we get our dinners. We actually order the same thing. We're so alike. We have fish tacos. He gets a diet soda or something. I don't remember. Lemonade. Again, conversation is fine. We're talking about YouTube, actually. Talking about my son-in-law, who's a YouTuber, and I'm just sharing some stuff. He's interested in this like YouTube side hustle potential business, and so it's all fine. But like I said, it's not like, it's polite. It's very bland. I'm on like a swivel stool. We're both on it. And I keep bumping him with my knees the way I was sitting and the way I'm talking. And I'm like, oh, sorry. But, oh no, he's like, that's fine. But not even those kind of accidental touches were like, like a spark or like anything. It was just like, oh, I'm like, so weird. So anyway, I had to back up about that. He's a writer. When he sent me the link to his like writing page that had all of his pieces, the first one was called 4,000 Pills, something like that. And it was a poem. And so I'm not a big poem person, but I read it and I was like, okay. And at this point, I wasn't sure if things were autobiographical or not. It was something about taking all these pills and I don't know who I am in this skin and all these, whatever. And I was like, okay, whatever. And then I read all the rest and it was all great. And I was like, what was that pill one? So I went back up to read and click on it and it says page not found. And then poofs, it disappears. So I had messaged him at that when that happened, and because we were doing our banter and I was like, should I say his name? I guess it's fine. And I was like, Christopher. I'm like, did you delete a story or a poem? And he's like, what? And first he plays dumb, which I don't know if he's being funny or not, but I was like, yeah, it was there. Now it's gone. And he's like, oh, the 4,000 Pills one? And I was like, yeah. He's like, yeah. He's like, that one, I've never felt comfortable with it being out there and it's out of context and I'm happy to explain it. But, I took it down. So I was like, okay, cut to dinner. He's like, so I want to explain why I took that poem down about 4,000 pills. And I'm like, okay, here we go, guys. This is where things start coming together here. But he goes, so yeah, for the past 20 years or something, I've been on medication for depression and never quite getting it right. Like, it's been like doctors and doctors, and he's always had like, I'm not sure, like, is it depression? Is like, what is this mental health struggle I have? They try different meds all the time. He's always medicated. Nothing is great. He's never feels right for 20 years. All of this is fine. Sure, a lot of people use medication for mental health, and I'm all for that. That's fine. Then he says, and I'm not sure how this was realized, that very, very recently, after all of this time, it has come to everyone's attention, or he has learned he is not depressed. He doesn't have a mental health disorder. He is just autistic. And now he's going to detox from all of these drugs that he's been on his whole life. This nugget could have been, I'm like, should this have been shared on sorry, I've got like paper flopping around here. When should he have shared this, and how should he have shared this? But anyway, this is not even the bombshell. So he's on the spectrum, like whatever. And goes on to say, this is the part, guys, brace yourselves. Goes on to say, through all of this detoxing, the past 8 weeks have been so terrible, excruciating, hard. No one's been able to help him. No doctor's been able to help him. Friends and family can't help him. His daughter can't help him. It's just him going through it. It's so bad. He didn't think he was going to make it a few times, which I take that to mean, euphemism for suicidal ideation. That's what else does he mean when he doesn't think he's going to make it through? How bad it was. And just drops that. And I don't know what my face looked like. I don't know what my response was, but I'm kind of like, I'm trying to be in the moment and really listen to what he's saying, but I'm also like, feel like I'm watching the moment, like what is happening? I did not sign up for this. I'm not in the market or the business to tell people what they should and shouldn't be doing, but I don't think he should be dating when the past 8 weeks have been the worst of his life. He maybe almost tried to commit suicide several times, and now he's on OkCupid. He did say he had just gone on that morning, like that we met. I'm like, okay, well. And then he kind of just like flops on the table and is like, I'm so tired. And like, and clearly, like, he must have felt there's no connection, but I don't know what to chalk that up to. Was it because he was holding on to this revelation and he's nervous? Like he said, he was going to be nervous and awkward. He's nervous and awkward because he's on the spectrum. And that's why we can't find that connection in real life. I don't know. But the next thing I know, we're just like finishing up and heading out. And I'm like, okay. In my head, I'm like, okay, we're out in the parking lot. We start talking about something else. And I'm like, yeah, get good sleep. And I go in for a hug again. I wish I hadn't, because I'm like, what was the point? But whatever. We hug goodbye. We just go to our cars. Boom. Done. I call my friend again and I'm like, oh my God, are you ready for this? He's like, what? I'm like, tell her the story wicked fast. And I'm just like, wow. Like I'm trying to already devise what I'm going to say to him, because I'm thinking he's going to come say to me, like, first of all, I know he's wicked tired and I have an hour drive home. So I like, most guys will always make sure I get home. I don't need that, but that is just what they do. But I feel like he's not going to do that because he's so tired and he's like, this was huge and he's whatever. So he did not check on me. He did not text. He didn't send a single text or check on me. And then the next morning at 9 a.m., by 9 a.m., I'm like, he still hasn't written to me. And then I go on OkCupid and our conversation is gone, meaning he's deleted it or he's off the platform altogether. And I'm like, I'm taking this all personal, like, even because I'm a little messed up thinking this is like all my fault and that I was somehow misrepresenting myself, which was not the case. And so this whole time I'm waiting for him to like apologize or be like, I'm sorry, that was a lot, or I was so nervous, I was so tired, like I should have maybe eased into this, or we should have talked more before. I don't know. I'm waiting for any of this, and then I get none of it. And I didn't even get to say the thing which I was going to say, like, yeah, Chris, I'm thinking, this might be not the right time for you to be putting yourself out there. I didn't even get to say anything because he's gone. I mean, yeah, we have each other on text. I know his phone number, but I'm not going to solicit him after this whole thing, and we're just going to pretend this thing never happened, which is seriously, I'm like, did this happen? I'm like, well, I feel like it's a badge of honor to have a dating horror story, and I now have one. So yeah, like, I'm still in shock over it. I even had a dream about it that I hear you, Blue Jay. I see him up there. This Blue Jay is like, leave. I hear you. He's like, leave the deck. I want to eat. Oh my God. Come on. I see you up there. He's sitting in a tall birch tree. It's so cute. Oh my God. Come on. You're going to lose out. He's literally, they will like caw and yell at me, like, to warn everybody else that I'm out here. Anyway, guys, please join the Facebook group. Tell your horror stories. Comment below. Any of that, like, because what we have is solidarity. I need to know that this has happened to somebody else. Oh, he's really loud. Oh my God. That's my story. Feel bad for me. I feel like, so the lesson learned is that banter. I'm really good at the online banter. Like, we have really good humor. We're doing some little innuendos. It's lots of laughs, but I feel like you've got to at least do a phone call before meeting, because you'll get a better sense. Like, 'cause, oh yeah, his voice. I'm like, his voice. I'm like, it wasn't feminine per se. Like, it wasn't feminine, but it wasn't like very masculine. I guess because in my head I had that big burly guy and he was gonna have a certain deep voice and he just didn't. And what's the word? Something about his voice was not like, it didn't attract me. So maybe if we had done a phone call, I would have gotten that. Would we still have gone out? Probably. But I don't know. I'm being more careful from here on out. When I've got good banter, I'm like, you know what? And I'm glad we did not do that for like a week. I would have been like so high, and then the crash would have been even worse because it was so good. So I am quick to like, let's meet. Let's just meet up, and it's got to be physical chemistry. It's got to be there. That's my lesson, guys. Lessons learned. The whole thing was a bit of a shock. I hate to say that texting chemistry isn't real chemistry, but it is somewhat performative. I feel like for me, I might be performing, and I am actually very flirty in text. And I'm still flirty in person. I might like be a little more shy in person, but if the other person meets me where I'm at, like, that helps me, and then we can like do all the flirting. I do enjoy that. But I think for some guys, the performative aspect is what is happening. Very out of left field. Yeah, wasn't expecting this one. Anyway, cheers, guys. Take care. See you in the next one.